Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video, which is in preparation for our next block party number 2, which will be Friday, January 14th, all day long, all night long, 24-hour block party. And so we're just doing a little preparation for that. Part of the preparation, my big inspiration for today, and I'm going to screen share in a moment here, is that we're launching the Darth Vader series, and the whole block party, every block party from now on, will all be part of the Darth Vader series. So that way we kind of give it a container. And, you know, this is partly building off our success at COP26, where we basically said, hey, listen, the world had been ignoring us up until COP26. We go to COP26 and suddenly the world is not ignoring us anymore. And really getting into the conversation. And in fact, the whole Darth Vader performance and speeches and everything was called the runaway success, the singular runaway success of COP26. So we're basically saying, okay, world, we heard you, right? We know how you like for us to reach out to you, present to you, connect with you, and it's Darth Vader. So here we are. What's up, Darth? Okay, so with that, I'm going to screen share and go through a taxonomy of topics that ultimately everything that we record and present during the block party will map to one of these topics in the taxonomy. And just to be clear, the agenda of the block party will remain pretty much as it is, except of course it'll now map to this taxonomy of topics. So I'm going to screen share and let's go through it. So the Darth Vader series, and they're what I'm calling the foundations of the Darth Vader series. And the core foundational pillar is something I'm calling the existence hypothesis. What do I mean by the existence hypothesis? By the existence hypothesis, I mean it's a hypothesis that states the following: there exists a solution, a singular whole solution to this whole crazy mess that we're in, right? And, you know, there's all these people who say, oh, you're never going to fix that. You're never going to change that. Humanity's never going to change. Everyone's always going to be greedy, blah, 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 right? All right. The existence hypothesis says there is a solution. The opposite to the existence hypothesis is, I'm going to call it the null hypothesis, which is that there are no solutions. Nothing will ever work. We're going down. We've got months to years to live before this party is all over, and just forget it. You might as well just drop acid, you know, have fun, have wild sex, whatever, because nothing matters. We're all about to die anyway, right? Okay. The existence hypothesis says, no, there is a solution. We may not know what it is yet, but it exists out there somewhere, you know, even in the theoretical, but it exists. That's the existence hypothesis. Now, associated with that is, let me just go back to screen sharing here. Associated with the existence hypothesis is that there is a place for us to stand. Let me just riff on this. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all get off of our positions? You know, everyone's got a position. Well, I think this. Well, I think that. What if we just admitted the elephant in the room, which is that we don't know? We don't know what the solution is. If we knew, we'd be implementing it, right? So a place to stand is, number one, get off our positions and say, hey, there must be a way. Embrace the existence hypothesis. There must be a way, and our imperative is to find it. Now, do you see how that gets us to focus on this thing called it, the solution, right? We're now able to focus on it. Hey, it must be out there. Now let's find it. Now, a bit about my story, and really our story as a community, as a group here. We were searching for, you know, what do we do about this Guy McPherson death sentence that we're all, you know, going to die in 10 years. And we searched and searched and searched and searched and searched. And finally, after years, we found it. MCB, Marine Cloud Brightening. And then we found that despite our best efforts at COP, I mean, we got a lot of people talking about marine cloud brightening at COP26. COP itself, inside COP, didn't act on it. But basically, we're now stuck with the follow-on problem. Okay, now that okay, Sherlock, now that you figured out that marine cloud brightening is the way to go, how do we get the world to figure out that it's the way to go and actually implement it? How do we get the rest of humanity to see it and take action on it? So just consider, here's just sort of a thought experiment. You know, there are the top 100 most influential people in the world, right? We could rattle off a couple dozen of them just off the top of our heads. Imagine that any one of those people, whether Pope Francis or Elon Musk or whatever, any one of those called a press conference and said, hey, I've got it. I've got the answer. Everyone would listen. They may or may not have the answer, but they'd say what they have to say, and then that would get a dialogue going, right? Now, consider a corollary to that. Suppose, again, one of those 100 most influential, or one or more of those 100 most influential, did a press conference and said, hey, we don't got it. We don't know how to get it. Does anyone have any ideas? And then they would ask everyone else in the room, reporters and whatnot, what do you got? And that would get us started on a conversation. Either of those press conferences, either one that says we got it or we don't got it, would kick off a global conversation and get everyone talking, because people are now hungry for a solution. Everyone has seen the movie Don't Look Up. Everyone's like, oh my God. And so now, anyway, and as framing for the rest of this, this is our attempt. This is our attempt right here. This is our contribution to that press conference. And what's yours? Join us and tell us. So that's where we are right now. Okay. So let me just kind of give a brief overview of where we're going with the rest of this video. So we've talked about a place to stand. We'll talk about information, synthesis, and story. We'll talk about this, THIS, either or, KK, KDK, da-da-da. That's what we know that we know, what we know that we don't know, what we don't know that we don't know. That's probably the biggest of all. And very important, what we don't know that we actually know, but we don't know that we know it. Then we're going to talk physical solutions like love all, feed all, and related topics. We're going to talk about marine cloud brightening and related topics. We're going to talk about emergency measures needed. We're going to talk about a class of solutions that I call the Humanity Rising solutions. There's a program called Humanity Rising, and we've participated in that, and they're good people. So I'm not referring to that, but just kind of the concept of humanity rising. And then goodwill hunting, and that'll take us to the end. So let's.
Tomorrow, I might add that I have a meeting with a guy who's really all about the public commons.
Oh, awesome.
The commons. So I'll find out more about that tomorrow at lunch.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Friday, late Friday.
And bring him to the block party.
Yeah, I'm going to do a mobile report from this great individual. He's a well-known activist of the past, and I'll introduce him tomorrow at lunch. Okay.
That'll Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So we've talked about. Yeah, go ahead, James.
No, I was just saying there, given that there is already a humanity rising, as you said, and I'm just thinking about it in the sense, when you think about that, in order for humanity to rise, they're going to have to first realize. So what about humanity realizing? You know what I mean? Realizing the fucking actual truth.
Yeah.
Because you can't rise until you realize, you know what I mean, what you're rising for.
Yeah. Humanity realizing and rising. I don't even know. Okay. Apparently it's with a Z. Okay. Good stuff, James. Thank you. That's been changed. Okay. So we talked about a place to stand, right? Where we get off of it, get off of our attachments and say, listen, we don't know. And then we create a clearing for part of the existence hypothesis is saying, once we stand in the right place, there is part of the it that we're looking for, part of the solution that we maintain exists, is some set of information, some story, some synthesis, right? That once people get it, then they spread it and it goes viral. And it either gets us focused on the solution, if it exists, if it's been discovered or co-created yet, or it gets us focused on co-creating the solution if it does not yet exist. Does that make sense? Michael has a comment. We only got 10 minutes left, so go ahead, Michael. Let's make it concise. Go ahead.
Just a quick note. We've done a lot on the story. I liked our work on the story previously. I wonder if we could kind of harvest any of that old story bits from before that you had created the story, like the 3 levels, or I forgot, it was like Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, those triangles. That was pretty solid. I like that work you did.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Let's get. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. That's fine. I got it. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, the story is really good stuff. So let's, so far we've got it here. I'm just going to underline it so that we know that we need to take that elsewhere and expand upon that. Thank you for that. Now, another section is, I'm calling it a specific domain called this domain, right? And this stands for transforming, healing, and intentionally saving life on Earth, right? That is what I'm calling the this domain. And, we're looking for, we're just calling it the solution. I believe the solution will emerge out of this domain, right? So solution exists within this domain. And so again, the existence hypothesis, if the solution exists, what are its parts and how will we recognize it? And I'm suggesting there's 3 main parts. One is the on-ramp, bringing people together. And that's what goodwill hunting is about, that we talk about later. So bring people together. The second part is the co-creation. Now that we're together, let's co-create the solution. And then finally, there is the solution, or this solution, and its implementation. So we'll talk about all that. And then there's the physical versus the non-physical. We'll talk about the physical. We'll talk about both in a little bit. Either or, just a quick comment on either or. Either or says the following: either the existence hypothesis is true or it's false. But in either case, the very best thing for us to do is pretend like it's true. Pretend that there is a solution and go after it. Because even if we're going down and there is no solution and no solution is possible, well, let's go down together and let's go down working towards the common good. Even though we've failed at that in the past, even if we achieve that for a month or 2 or a year or a couple of years or whatever period of time, and then we die after all, let's at least die knowing what it is to really live. And that means all of us coming together and working towards the common good. Anyway, and then let me just decipher what these acronyms stand for. KK stands for what we know that we know. KDK stands for what we know that we don't know. DKDK, what we don't know that we don't know. And then DKK, what we don't know that we actually know. The big elephant in the room is in these last 2, what we don't know that we don't know, and what we don't know that we know. And we're working on, and I believe it's in those realms that our next big iteration as a species lies. And we can talk about what that looks like and how will we get there from here. I'm going kind of fast because we just have a few minutes. So physical solutions. And I'm saying that we know that we need to love all, feed all. plant-based foods, right? This is consistent with the vegan world. A subset of that whole conversation is what about Alan Savory, and the grazing of animals. So we'll talk about that. Then, one aspect of Love All, Feed All is the transformation of humanity and the dominoes of human needs becoming human rights. And a question, could Love All, Feed All be the on-ramp? Remember how we talked about there's three parts: the on-ramp, the co-creation, and then the actual solution and getting it implemented. What if Love All, Feed All is the on-ramp that gets people together? Just a thought. Another physical solution that we know is MCB, or marine cloud brightening. We need a section called It's All About the Boops. James mentioned that Dr. Massa had published something on this. We've been doing some work on this lately. It's really good stuff. So we'll cover that. Other forms of SRM other than marine cloud brightening, like stratospheric aerosol injection, which I think is a vastly inferior solution with a whole bunch of negatives. There are no negatives to marine cloud brightening, only positives, and it will do the job. Then we can talk about non-SRM solutions like drawdown, which actually takes us in the opposite direction. It doesn't cool the planet, it actually overheats the planet even faster in the short term. And it's the short term that we need to focus on right now, or there won't be a medium term and a long term. Vegan world is another non-SRM solution that's taking us in the right direction, at least, but just too slowly. So we need marine cloud brightening, right? We've got to deal with this idea virus that if you turn on any major television network, you get the impression, hey, we got this. We got the right pundits on the show. They're all optimistic. And then cut to the ads, and then you feel like buying stuff because everything's going to be fine. So go ahead and shop. Anyway, that's the idea virus. The metavirus, that which generates that virus, is that a fragmented world will create everything we need. We just need capitalism, neoliberalism. Everybody go out and pursue your selfish interests, and everything will be fine. That's the metavirus. And then the vaccine to both the virus and the metavirus, I'm going to call it no, and no. No, we don't got this. And no, a fragmented world is not the way out. It was the way into this mess. And in the fragmented world, just consider oil, right? We know that we've been emitting these deadly greenhouse gases into the atmosphere for decades, but there's been no attempt to curtail it. Oh, excuse me. There was one attempt to curtail it, and it was called OPEC. And it was only to curtail it, to choke off supply, to raise prices. That was it. Another section is emergency measures needed. We now need emergency measures. Not only do we not got this, but we need emergency measures. Marine cloud brightening is an emergency measure, right? It's humanity stepping in and doing geoengineering. Yes, and we need it. It's an emergency measure, and we need it. Okay, then solutions in the realm of humanity realizing and rising, right? We've talked about this before, humanity coming together, a place to stand, sharing stories, syntheses, information, etc. We're going to talk about the transformation of humanity. We'll talk a bit about government, the media, and corporations, the big three. It's really one giant corporation or one giant conglomerate. But what's really notable is that any solutions which don't take us in the way of more production, more selling, and more consumption, those solutions get filtered out, as do people who are talking about changing the game. The government, media, and corporations are all about keeping the game going because they're winning at the game. I've never heard of a Heisman Trophy winner talk about how we need to eliminate football. If you're winning at a particular game, you promote the game. It's just how it works. Then we'll talk about collective intelligence. That's a key part of it, decorous, among other things. And then for spreading this whole thing, in the couple of minutes remaining, goodwill hunting. So we're just out there promoting this whole narrative. that a solution exists. We need to find it. Everything I've just said till now it's like, okay, who's in? How do we reach out? So Dear Rumere is a way for us to reach out and get other people into this conversation. The Darth Vader series that this is a taxonomy for. And our one ask, very simple, participate in the Darth Vader series. And together we can benevolently transform the universe. Come with me, and together we can benevolently transform the universe. And this is a universal thing. Why? Because for all we know, we're the only intelligent life in the universe. We kill ourselves off. We've killed off intelligent life for a universe that takes billions of years for a photon to travel from one end to the other. It's insane. It's a pretty big universe. It matters. We'll have a section on Darth Vader at Top 26. If anyone wants to get some videos queued up to screen share, let's do that. In that section, we have the block party itself, now living under the umbrella of the Darth Vader series. We have accelerated collective evolution every Friday from 2:30 to 4:30 with Dharmendra. Make sure you join us for that. It is so much fun. 2:30 to 4:30 Pacific time every Friday. Every Friday with Dharmendra. Then we have Food Healers, the Hunger Games, and the Hungerless Games. Right now, we're living in the dystopia of the Hunger Games, and we need to make the transition to the Hungerless Games. Anyway, that's the taxonomy. Quick review of the top levels. We first start with foundations, a place to stand, story, synthesis, this solution, this domain, transforming, healing, and saving life on Earth. The on-ramp, getting people together, the co-creation of the solution, and then implementation. The physical and the non-physical, either or, all the stuff about what we know and don't know and all that. Physical solutions, love all, feed all, and marine cloud brightening are the top two, and then a bunch of stuff to say about all that. Emergency measures, humanity realizing and rising. This is in the realm of the non-physical, right? I'm going to put this in parentheses. This is in the realm of the non, these are not physical solutions. This is humanity coming together and learning how to coordinate and talk with each other, relate to each other, and ultimately get it done. We talk about what's standing in the way, government, media, and corporations. We talk about collective intelligence, that basically all those people, those good people who are getting filtered out by government, media, and the corporations, bring them together in collective intelligence. It's just like this whole other dimension that's unfiltered, and decorous is a big part of that. And then we got Goodwill Hunting and our current vectors for getting this out there, the Darth Vader series included, block party, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, that's it for the summary. Any quick questions or comments before I got to run? And thanks everyone for participating.
What is that a summary of again? Is that the press conference?
This is the taxonomy of topics that is the backbone, the skeleton, the structure for the Darth Vader series, of which the block party is now a part, and everything else that we participate in will be a part of. And our one ask to the world is participate in the Darth Vader series. Either watch the videos, join the meetings, submit your questions, comments in writing, but participate. That's our one ask. And that's how we'll get there from here.
Do we have a timeline on that 60-second video and then the 60-minute video? Do we have a timeline we're looking at scheduling out our task?
Not yet. That's all under the heat and marine cloud brightening and the boops and all that. And we'll talk about that tomorrow, just because I got to run right now. All right, everybody.
All I have to add is
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamin, for keeping us all together. And I look forward to more people joining all the time. Bring us your questions, bring us your better solutions, but definitely bring yourself to the conversation.
Love it. Amen. Hallelujah. All righty. Well, with that, I'll conclude this video. Join us tomorrow starting at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Look out for the agenda, and we'll see you tomorrow at the block party portion of the Darth Vader series. All right. See you all tomorrow. Thanks so much, everybody.